It's one of the most beautiful places on Earth and a great place to learn about travel photography. Today I'm going to Scotland, and you're coming with me. In this video, I'll take you behind the scenes of a travel photography excursion to Scotland. We'll highlight useful photography tips along the way as we seek out storybook locations of castles, cottages, and magical trains. Drop any questions in the comments section or reach out through my website, BDPhotographs.com. Alright, prime your imagination, our story begins now. Travel photography is a broad category which may include landscape, people, wildlife, architecture, food photography, or street photography. Anything that gives the essence of a place. It doesn't mean anything goes. Let's take a moment to look at what travel photography is not. There's a myth that anyone with a smartphone and a ticket to Paris is automatically a travel photographer. That's a bit like making instant oatmeal and calling that person a chef. C'est magnifique. So in Scotland they drive on the left, which is really weird for an American, but we're going to do our best. Let's go. Our first location is the colorful seaside village of Tobermory on the Isle of Mull, and we'll need to drive onto a ferry to reach this town. We'll do some daytime scouting to see where the best view is to get a nice composition. Best light for shooting an outdoor scene in most landscapes is in the hours around sunrise and sunset. We'll use the photographer's ephemeris, which is a very clunky name for an app, but a great way to plan sunrise and sunset shots. The app costs $9.99, but the desktop version is free. We can see that the sun will set at about 10 p.m. in the northwest. Now all we need to do is come back tonight and hope for some good color in the sky. Now we're really going to have some fun. Fans of Harry Potter films know that the basis for the Hogwarts Express runs nearby over the Glenfinnan Viaduct. The train only passes once per day in each direction, so we have to time it perfectly. We'll check the train schedule and do some research to know what time to be there, then we'll arrive at least 45 minutes early to stake out a good spot. Early arrival and planning is critical not only to timing the shot, but to claiming your spot in popular photo locations. As you can see, we're not the only ones with this brilliant idea. And here we go. Next, we're going to the odd miniature world of Fairy Glen on the Isle of Skye. It seems like a perfect place to film a movie about small creatures. And normally when we photograph landscapes, we don't want any people in the shot, and that sometimes can be impossible without a little help from Photoshop. But sometimes having a person in the photo really helps to show scale, and that seems appropriate for this location. It's really an artistic decision. In the Scottish spring and summer, the days are very long, so we need to make the best of many hours the sun is overhead. We can't hit every location for sunrise or sunset, but we can take advantage of the frequently cloudy skies to create some really great moody shots. Now we're stopping at Ellendonan Castle and need to find a good composition. The sky is fairly dull and gray, so we won't include much of it in our shot. We've got a nice leading line to our subject, and we've minimized the less interesting parts of the scene. But I'm still not feeling this image, especially the lack of color, so we might opt to make it a black and white image instead to emphasize contrast over color. Once again, it's an artistic decision. Sometimes overhead light can really spice up a scene when it filters through a narrow canopy. This gorge takes on a magical feel in the middle of the day that we wouldn't see when the sun is low. This cottage is just picture perfect against the dark background mountains, and clouds are helping to filter and diffuse the light. When we edit this photo in post-production, we'll add some contrast to create even greater mood. We can't leave Scotland without looking for a couple of cool spots in the city. We're in Edinburgh looking for interesting architecture. The challenge in photographing buildings is keeping lines straight. If we point our camera somewhat up or down, the distortion from our lens will create converging lines. Here are a few examples from Instagram of the building we're going to shoot. Notice how the lines converge. To avoid the converging lines, we have a few options. We can keep our camera perfectly level, but that may not fit the entire building in frame. We can also use a specialty tilt-shift lens, but that's an expensive piece of gear to buy or rent. Lastly, we can fix the converging lines in post-processing, which is usually the easiest but not always the most effective way. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our Caledonian holiday. Now you're ready to plan your next travel photography trip. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on Instagram. Thanks for watching.